I'm balancing on this log so that I could bring you a virtual field trip today. We're going to talk about some of the water quality and water pollution issues from this unit by taking a tour of my local neighborhood. Hope you have fun. So this is Flash. Flash loves to go on walks in the woods. He especially loves to go walk by the river. And inevitably, every time we go on a walk, well, you know what he does. So the question is, do you pick it up or do you leave it in place? What happens with dog waste if you leave it in place? It washes into the local body of water where it adds bacteria, nitrogen, and phosphorus that can degrade the water quality and also add to eutrophication.
Thinking about the water quality indicators that we've been learning in class, there are a couple of them that you can tell just by looking at a stream. So the turbidity, that's how cloudy the water is. This stream is actually pretty clear. So clearer streams are more healthy. The color, if you were to pick up a sample of this water in a cup and look at it, it would have a very slight brownish tint. And that's from tannins from decaying vegetation. Tannins are the chemicals that are responsible for making tea brown. They aren't necessarily bad for the water. They just do impart a little bit of a smell, and then they do indicate that you do have decaying vegetation, which could mean that we could have a high nutrient load at some point as that vegetation continues to decay. There's a little bit of foam on the water. Foam comes from surfactants, which are chemicals that can lower the surface tension of the water and enable it to mix with the air and bubble up. There are natural surfactants. They come from decaying vegetation, and then there are man-made ones from things like detergents or phosphorus and fertilizer. Chances are, based on the color of this foam, this is coming from natural decaying vegetation. So the foam here is not too bad. And then the smell, a healthy stream shouldn't have any smell. If you were smelling rotten eggs, then that would indicate that you have bacteria that are putting off hydrogen sulfide, which could interfere with the pH and cause us to have more acidic water. You should never smell anything chemically or sewage or dead fish. Those types of odors indicate that you're going to have an issue with the water quality.
Non-point pollution is a problem near many waterways. So behind me I have an example of houses with lots of well-manicured lawns that require lots of fertilizer. And remember, non-point pollution, it's hard to identify the exact source. So all of these houses, every time it rains, it's washing in excess fertilizer into the lake. That means more nitrogen and phosphorus to eventually contribute to eutrophication. One of the problems we can see as a result of runoff that's too rich in nutrients, like from fertilizer or from dog waste, is algae. And here next to the lake, we can see some filamentous algae growing. So you can see it's kind of stringy. That's not the dangerous kind of algae. And actually it's not too bad for the lake. It does photosynthesize, and so you can see where it's got some oxygen bubbles coming here, where it's been doing photosynthesis. So it does improve the dissolved oxygen of the lake. You just don't want too much algae, because what happens when you have too much algae is
you can get an overpopulation of algae. And then as the overpopulated algae die off, microbes in the water decompose them, and those microbes use up the oxygen in the water, which leads us to hypoxic conditions where we have too little dissolved oxygen. If you have very hypoxic conditions, we can end up with a fish kill.
Where we have problems with erosion around bodies of water, we can have issues with sedimentation. So behind me is an example where the edge of the lake is starting to fill in due to sedimentation. A sewer is just a sewer, right? Did you know that there's a difference between the sanitary sewer and the storm sewer? Sanitary sewer is where everything goes when you and the storm sewer is where everything in the street washes down. Grass clippings, motor oil, trash that people throw in the street, it goes in the storm sewer and pops out here and flows into the nearest body of water. So we see here where the storm sewer has been putting motor oil and grease and stuff from off the road into the lake. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the tour, and I hope that you learned a little something about water quality and water pollution today. Take care. See you later.